God took my mama home. A million times I've needed you, a million times I've cried. If love alone could have saved you, you never would have died. In life I loved you dearly, in death I love you still. In my heart you hold a place that no one else can ever fill. It broke my heart to lose you, but you didn't go alone. Part of me went with you the day that God took you home. You know, the other day, I was driving to Formosa, Arkansas, and I was scrolling through the radio stations because the station I was listening to had lost signal. And as I've mentioned before, I like listening to talk. I'm not much on the music. I like to listen to talk. And so every time I would come across a station that had someone talking, I would pause. And I come across the station, and they were having a competition. They were having a contest, and they were giving away some tickets to some program. I don't know what it was. But they had played a short clip of a song. And if somebody could call in and guess what the song was, they would win these tickets. And it was a Mother's Day theme. And the song was called Mama by Genesis. It was released in 1983. And then they went on after the person had called in and won the contest. They went on to play the song. Now, I don't know if I've ever heard the song before. It was kind of an odd song. It was a little strange. But I can say for sure that I know that it never affected me like it affected me that day. And when they began to sing the song and it began to play on the radio, I just began to weep. I began to think about my mama. This is the first Mother's Day since Mom passed. And I just began to weep uncontrollably, thinking about my mom. And I just thought about the fact that for Mother's Day, I would not be able to call my mom and wish her a happy Mother's Day. I would not be able to spend my Sunday afternoon with my mom, just spending time with her and sitting and talking. Just sitting and enjoying her company. I remember last Mother's Day, one of my siblings had asked what we should get Mom for Mother's Day. What gift he wanted us all to go in and to buy a gift for Mom. And I told him, I said, listen, Mom's time is short. I said, Mom's time is very short. And I said, the greatest gift that we could give Mom is for all of us to be there. For all of us to be there and for all of us to get along. For all of us to be sober. I said, that would be the greatest gift that Mom could have. And that's exactly what happened. Little did we know that we had just a little bit less than a month before Mom would go home. And it was a good day. It was a really good day. One of the last memories I have of my mom is she had not been outside in a long time. It was painful for her to get around. And one day I talked her into going outside. I said, Mom, it's a beautiful day. The lilacs were blooming. The sun was shining. The grass was green. I finally talked her into going outside. She was afraid I was going to lose her going down the ramp. I know what it was. Mom always loved lilacs. I took her outside and I watched her as she sat there, and she would just close her eyes and feel the sun on her face. I watched her take her feet, and her feet were so swollen from all the medications. And I watched her take her feet, and she would just rub them in the grass. Just feel them on the bottom of her feet. I pushed her over close enough that she could reach the lilacs. She would pull it over and just smell those flowers. She wasn't able to stay long. I had to take her back in the house. The other day, there was someone who was looking at grown children. And they were comparing them to other grown children. And the observation was made that one group of those children was nasty and mean. And the other group, the children, were very sweet and kind and humble. Then the comment was made, well, look at their mothers. That will explain why the children are the way that they are. Just look at the moms. And you know, there's so much truth to that observation. So much truth to that. Most, if not all of us, have heard the phrase, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. Have you ever thought about the truth of that statement? Have you ever thought about the influence that a mama has on her children? The hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. Blessings on the hand of women. Angels guard its strength and grace. In the palace, the cottage, and the hovel, oh, no matter where the place, would that never storms assailed it, rainbows ever gently curled, for the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. Infancy, the tender fountain, power may with beauty flow. Mothers first to guide the streamlets from the soul's unresting grow. Grow on for good or for evil, sunshine streamed or evil hurled, for the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. Women, how divine your mission here upon your natal sod. Keep the young heart open, always to the breath of God. All true trophies of the ages are from mother's love impearled, for the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. Blessings on the hand of women. Fathers, sons, and daughters cry, and the sacred song is mingled with the worship in the sky. Mingles where no tempest darkens. Rainbows evermore are hurled, for the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. You know, most women don't realize they are influencing the future of this world. What an important job that is. What an important position that is. I can't think of a job in the world that would be more important than a mom raising her children. And a mom will either raise her children for evil or she will raise them for good. Do you think that Marianne Trump realized that she was raising a young man who would one day become arguably one of the greatest presidents that these United States of America have ever had? Marianne was a housewife by trade, a volunteer at the local hospital. She worked with local charities to help the betterment of those with cerebral palsy and helping with efforts to improve the lives of the intellectually disabled adults. She was active with the Salvation Army, with the Boy Scouts of America, and with the Lighthouse for the Blind. She had a significant role at the Women's Auxiliary of the Jamaica Hospital and also at the Jamaica Day Nursery. And she also spent years volunteering at the 228-bed nursing home in their area. And Donald once wrote this: "Looking back, I realize now that I got some of my sense and some of my showmanship from my mother." So I began to think about some of the mothers that the Bible speaks of. Some were good influences and some not so much. Jacob was a deceiver, a trickster in his younger years. At one point, he had conned Esau out of his birthright for a bowl of lentil soup and a piece of bread. We see that in Genesis chapter 25. But it's not hard to see where Jacob got his conniving spirit when you read Genesis chapter 27. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son." "Here I am," he answered. Isaac said, "I am now old man, and I don't know the day of my death. Now then, get your equipment, your quiver, your bow, and go out to the open country and hunt some wild game for me. Prepare me the kind of tasty food that I like. Bring it in to me to eat, so that I may give you my blessings before I die." Now Rebekah, this is mom, Rebekah was listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau. And when Esau left for the open country to hunt game and to bring it back, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Look, I overheard your father say to your brother Esau, 'Bring me some game, prepare me some tasty food to eat, so that I may give to you a blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die. Now, my son, listen carefully and do what I tell you. Go out to the flock and bring me a choice young goat so that I can prepare some tasty food for your father, just the way he likes it. And then take it into your father to eat, so that he may give you the blessing before he dies.' Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, 'But my brother Esau is hairy man, and I have smooth skin. What if my father touches me? I would appear to be tricking him and would bring down a curse on myself rather than a blessing.' His mother said to him, 'My son, let the curse fall on me. Just do what I say. Go and get them for me.' So he went and he got them and he brought them to his mother, and she prepared some tasty food, just the way that his father liked it. And then Rebekah took the best clothes of Esau, her older son, which she had in the house, and put them on her younger son Jacob. She also covered his hands and the smooth parts of his neck with goat skin. And then she handed to her son Jacob the tasty food and the bread that she had made. He went in to his father and said, 'My father.' 'Yes, my son,' he answered. 'Who is it?' Jacob said to his father, 'I am Esau. I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you have told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game so that you may give me your blessings.' Isaac asked his son, 'How did you find so quickly, my son?' 'The Lord your God gave me success,' he replied. Then Isaac said to Jacob, 'Come near, so that I can touch you, my son, to know whether you really are my son Esau or not.' So Jacob went close to his father Isaac, who touched him and said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau." He did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau. So he proceeded to bless him. "Are you really my son Esau?" he asked. "I am," he replied. Then he said, "My son, bring me some of your game to eat, so that I may give you my blessings." Jacob brought it to him, and he ate, and he brought some wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come here, my son, and kiss me." So he went up to him, and he kissed him. When Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he blessed him, and he said, "Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you the heavens' dew and the earth's riches, and abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you and people bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may the sons of your mother bow down to you. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed." After Isaac had finished blessing him, and Jacob had scarcely left his house, his presence, his brother Esau came in from hunting. He too had prepared some tasty food, brought it to his father, and he said, "My father, please sit up, eat some of my game so that you may give me your blessing." His father Isaac asked him, "Who are you?" "Why, I'm your son," he answered, "your firstborn son Esau." And Isaac trembled violently and said, "Who was it then that just hunted game and brought it to me? I ate it just before you came, and I blessed him, and indeed he will be blessed." And then Esau heard his father's words. He burst out with loud and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me too, my father." But he said, "Your brother came deceitfully, and he took your blessings." Esau said, Isn't he rightly named Jacob? His name Jacob means deceiver. This is the second time that he has taken advantage of me. He took my birthright, and now he has taken my blessings. And then he asked, "Haven't you reserved any blessings for me?" Isaac answered Esau, "I have made him lord over you, and I have made his relatives his servants, and I have sustained him with grain and new wine. So what can I possibly do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "Do you have only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father." And then Esau wept out loud. His father Isaac answered him, "Your dwellings will be away from the earth's richness, away from the dew of the heavens above. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you will throw his yoke from off of your neck." Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessings of his father had given him. He said to himself, "The day of mourning for my fathers are near, and then I will kill my brother Jacob." And when Rebekah was told that her older son Esau had said, she sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him, "Your brother Esau is planning to avenge himself by killing you. Now then, my son, do what I say. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay with him for a while until your brother's fury subsides. And when your brother is no longer angry with you and forgets what you did to him, I'll send word for you to come back there. Why should I lose both of you in one day?" And then Rebekah said to Isaac, "I'm disgusted with the living because of these Hittite women. If Jacob takes a wife from among the women of the land, from the Hittite women like these, my life will not be worth living." She may have influenced Jacob in a negative way, to teach him to deceive his brother, to deceive his father. Deception. But one of my favorite moms is found in 1 Kings chapter 16, or chapter 3, verse 16. Two women who were harlots came to the king, and they stood before him. The one woman said, "Oh, my lord, this woman and I live in the same house, and I gave birth to a child while she was in the house. It happened on the third day after I gave birth that this woman also gave birth to a child. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, only the two of us in the house. This woman's son died in the night because she lay on it. So she arose in the middle of the night, and she took my son from beside me, while your maidservant slept, and laid him in her bosom, and laid her dead son in my bosom. And when I rose up in the morning to nurse my son, behold, he was dead. But when I looked at him carefully in the morning, behold, he was not my son whom I had born. Then the other woman said, No, for the living one is my son, and the dead one is your son. But the first woman said, No, for the dead one is your son, and the living one is my son. Thus they spoke before the king. Then the king said, The one says, This is my son is living, the other son is the dead one, and the other says, No, for your son is the dead one, and my son is the living one. The king said, Give me a sword. So they brought the sword before the king, and the king said, Divide the living child in two. Give half to the one and half to the other. Then the woman whose child was living one spoke to the king. She was deeply stirred over her son and said, O my Lord, give her the living child, and by no means kill him. But the other said, He shall be neither mine nor yours. Divide him. Then the king said, Give the first woman the living child, and by no means kill him, because she is the mother. She was willing to give up her rights as a mother. She was willing to give up her child to allow that child to live. Whatever it took, she was willing to do it to keep that child healthy. And then Solomon's mom, Bathsheba, went before King David when he was dying to rally for her son Solomon to be king in 1 Kings 1:1. Although Adonijah was actually the next one in line. In Matthew chapter 20, the mother of James and John came asking Jesus for him to set her two sons, one on the left, one on the right, which caused quite a stir amongst the other 10 apostles. Paul gave accolades to Timothy's mother and to his grandmother for raising Timothy in a godly environment and passing on their faith to him. In 2 Timothy 1:5 he says this, For I am mindful of the sincere faith within you, which first dwelt in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and I am sure that it is in you as well. And then the most blessed mother of all was Mary, the mother of Jesus. Luke chapter 1 and verse 28, And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, thou art highly favored. The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women. You see, we now live in a time when women no longer find it a blessing to be a mother. Children are an inconvenience. Children are a burden. Children will interfere with our careers, with our ambitions. They will damage the six-pack abs that I've worked so hard to get. They will cause our chests to sag. They will make our legs look like cottage cheese. Yes, 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 yes. All of that's true. You see, one of the most selfless things that any human being can do is to give up or to postpone their dreams and their desires and to sacrifice their bodies to bring a little needy, clingy, selfish little life into this world. You know, my wife sacrificed so much to stay home. She stayed home and she raised all of our kids. And then once she got those babies raised, she decided to take her skills and to help raise our grandbabies. God bless those moms who have to work, who desire to be home but are unable to. They have to help make ends meet, who work all day to bring home a check, and then they work all night to take care of their homes. Cooking, cleaning, and doctoring up into the night with sick kids, and then still getting up the next morning to go to work. That was my mama. My mama always had time for us kids. She would work all day long, washing dishes. And then she would come home and cook supper and wash dishes and do laundry. And if one of us was sick or one of us had something going on at school, she was there. And God bless the single moms with deadbeat fathers, those moms who have to work a full time and still try to raise their kids with no help or support from that worthless infidel who fathered those children. Those fathers that are out living the life while moms are scraping pennies to pay for school lunches. God bless the single moms. You know, I believe the best description of a mom is found in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 3 through 10. God blesses those who are poor in spirit, and they realize their need for Him, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. God bless those who mourn, for they will be comforted. God blesses those who are humble, for they will inherit the whole earth. One of the most humbling things that you can do is to become a mother. God bless those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. God blesses those who are merciful, for they will be shown mercy. And I can tell you from experience, there is no mercy like Mom's mercy. Dad wanted to beat us to death, and Mom wanted to show us mercy. God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God. A mama's heart is as pure as it comes. I stood up here a minute ago, and Wendy was holding my grandson. And I watched Brittany, and she couldn't take her eyes off of him. She just stared at him, and she had such a look on her face. And she couldn't stop looking at him. And I know she's got eyes in the back of her head because he's back there now, and she's still staring at him. God bless those whose hearts are pure. God blesses those who work for peace. My mama was always the peacemaker. Whether it was between me and my siblings, or it was between me and my father, or it was between my dad and his brother, my mama was always the peacemaker in the family. Always the peacemaker. God blesses those who work for peace, for they will be called the children of God. And finally, God blesses those who are persecuted for doing right. I've seen over the years, and I've watched over the years, women who choose to become mamas, who are downgraded, who are talked against, who are talked about, who are looked down because they gave up a chance for a career or they gave up opportunities in life to have a family. God bless those who are persecuted for doing right, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. God bless you, mamas. God bless you for what you do. God bless you for what you've done, for what you're going to continue to do. God bless you. And listen, every year I like to give opportunity. Today I took the chance to honor my mom. My mom was a good mom. And I miss my mama, especially today. Please leave here encouraged. Please leave here knowing that you are the hand that rocks the cradle. God has given you a very important job, the most important job that you will ever do in this life, I promise you. And raise those kids. Be a godly example to those kids. Father, we're so thankful. God, I thank you for my mama. I thank you that God, although she was only a Christian for the last few years of her life, God, she still had the characteristics of a godly woman. And God, I pray for the mamas that are here today. God, I know it's tough. I know it's hard. But God, it's the most rewarding thing they will ever do. God, may they be able to shut up the critics, to push out the naysayers. God, may they realize that those children that God has blessed them with will one day rule this world. God, I pray that you bless especially the single mamas. God, put people in their lives to help them, to walk with them, to help raise those babies, godly people. And God, I have watched my wife pray blessings over her children. I have watched her pray blessings over my grandbabies. I have watched her be a godly example to both. God bless my wife as she's downstairs right now taking care of everyone's children. And God, for those that are here that still have their mamas, God, I pray that they take every opportunity to phone, to go by and see them, to do whatever they have to do to spend time with their mama, because, God, time is short. And now, Father, as we end this service, I pray you bless each and every one here today. Keep us safe and bring us back once again. We ask all these things in Jesus' very precious name. Amen. God bless you, mamas. We are having service tonight.